Okay, what's going on, LBHT crew B? What is going on?
All kinds of stories this week.
All kinds of
The
stuff.
Ravens and Panthers aren't doing anything. The rest of the sports world provides.
Man, that is a fact. That is a fact. Look, you see the headline. I know this is a heavy Ravens community, and you love the Ravens topics. We might have a little topic for you later on in the show. We might have a little something, but we like you guys to be well rounded around here. Okay, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that you need to know about, and if we bring it up, you know it's a juicy topic. All right, so we have a lot of topics. So real quick, if you guys don't know, if you don't know, we have an audio podcast. I haven't put out the audio portion in a while. That's going to start back up pretty soon. But we used to do a separate audio show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to recap games of the week and other things going on around sports. And we used to always tell ourselves we got to move through these topics, right? We're taking too long. Those podcasts would be over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we said rapid fire. We're going to do rapid fire, and it never worked. All right.
Yeah.
But tonight,
but to be fair, that we got that, it was actually a hyperdrive. We got that from Adam Gase, and it didn't work for Adam
hyperdrive
Gase either, right?
Hyperdrive. Okay.
Some bad inspiration there.
Tonight we're going hyperdrive. Okay. We got to knock these things out so we can get through these. Quick couple shots real quick. D Weezy is in the house. What's going on, Derek? Thanks for coming through. Ravens Online Ungatekeeper says hashtag LBHT crew. Let it do what it do. Best time of the week. Yes. Andre Mears is in that house. Shout out to Andre Mears.
What's up, Andre?
Thanks for coming through, man.
Yes.
MDT Sports says, what's up, guys?
What's going on, MDT?
Yolanda B says, good evening, LBHT. Hope everyone is well. Thanks for coming through.
Good evening to you, Yolanda.
And Just Aloe. Yes, he says, hello, everyone. Hello to you, Just. All right, look, you guys are still trickling in. If you are new, make sure you hit that like button. And if you like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. All right. Jason Moya is in the house, man. Thanks for coming through.
What's up,
our
Jason?
Guy, one third of Ring Kings podcast. All right. Yes. 1/4 of Off the Record podcast. OTR Mike says, yo, what up? The best doing it. Yes, indeed. Okay. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson is big in the news. We're going to discuss Deshaun Watson. If you guys aren't golf fans, that's okay. I'm not a big golf fan either, but this is an interesting story that you need to hear. And this all ties into just money versus morality in sports, right? Mm-hmm. Money's big in sports. Where does morals fall into all this? Okay.
What not so big.
It's not so big. It's not so big. But we're gonna break down a few stories and we're gonna tie it all together. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact, and B has a Black History fact for you.
Yeah, so today is June 8th, and initially I thought this was the anniversary. It may have been June 7th, but of a civil rights, I guess you could say a civil rights icon, refusing to give up their seat on a transportation and move to the blacks only area. Not talking about Rosa Parks. Talking about Homer Plessy, who in 1892 he tried to get on a train and sit in the whites only car, and he was arrested, and it eventually, it became a Supreme Court case, a very famous Supreme Court case. One thing that I did not actually know that I found out today was that was all a setup. Plessy was what they used to refer to as an octoroon. I mean, he was 1/8 black, so he would still, he was very light skinned, but he would still have to sit in the blacks only car. And there was a group in New Orleans who thought that that wasn't right, essentially, right? Having segregation was wrong, so they set up. They called the train company and they said, "Hey, we're going to send somebody over tomorrow. He's black. He's going to sit in the whites only car." They hired a private detective to arrest Plessy and make sure that he was charged with the correct thing. And so he got a first class ticket. He sat in the whites only car. Their detective came over and arrested him, charged him, with, I forget what the exact crime was, but made sure he was charged with the proper thing. Yes, essentially. He went to trial and lost. And he appealed and went to the Supreme Court. And essentially what they were saying is that segregation is wrong. It violates your constitutional rights. Supreme Court did not agree. He lost that case 7-1, and that's where the standard of separate but equal came from. They said as long as the facilities or whatever it is are equal, of equal standing or quality, then segregation is fine. I think most people will know that later on, the case Board versus or Brown versus the Board of Education kind of overturned that. I mean, it was a series of cases. Brown versus Board of Education dealt specifically with school systems, and the Supreme Court said no, separate but equal is inherently unequal. But yeah, so this is just the anniversary of Homer Plessy going through that. I mean, I guess now you could call it a charade to challenge the separate but equal, or it was challenge segregation in this country. And of course, he lost the case, so he actually ended up changing his plea in his case to guilty. Had to pay a $25 fine, but no jail time or anything there. And again, eventually, it was. I'm sure he didn't last long after that. Who was the one? I'm not sure what he's referring to there. But eventually, that was overturned by Brown versus the Board of Ed.
Yeah, and look, separate but equal. That's something that they try to put on us, that hey, as long as resources are equal, it's all good. But it's never been that. And even today, things are still segregated and completely unequal. Right? We discussed
just not officially.
Just not officially. Yes, they find ways to segregate us by race still, and funnel out the resources to make it uneven. Yeah, a very important fact, and it's still relevant for today. Okay, we're gonna start with some quick sports news.
Yes.
Quick sports news. All right, so good news, happy for our guy Aaron Donald. All right,
who got just a massive raise.
No
extension. He had 3 years left on his deal, and they just gave him a bunch of more money.
Yes. Was he making at 30 mil per year?
It's I believe it's a little over 30 mil when you take all 3 years into account. He's going to get about 30 for the next 2 years, and then if he comes back for his final year, I believe he was going to get about 34. I believe was the total for that season. So congratulations to Aaron Donald. He got a huge raise, and it's not something that you see very often. A team just straight up rewarding a player for all they've done for the franchise. But coming off of the Super Bowl win and I don't know how many Defensive Player of the Year awards he should have won.
I believe 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards he's won.
But he should have won probably 5, 6, 7, however many.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a nice story for Aaron Donald. They're working on Cooper Kupp right now. They're going to make him the highest paid wide receiver in history. But the cap is real though.
And I looked it up. He's played 7 years?
I want to say
7 to 8 years.
I think it's 8 years.
I think 8 years. Yeah, something like that. Only 1 year, I believe it was his rookie year, he didn't make first team All-Pro. And if you look at his numbers, his rookie year, he should have made first team All-Pro. He got snubbed. Right. So I mean that that is amazing.
He had to earn it. He had to earn it.
Yeah. He had to earn it. He had to earn it. Worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
Highest paid non-QB in the history of the NFL. And
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. Okay. So hey man, it's worth it. But again, setting the market even for QBs, right? Because you can't have your franchise QB, Lamar Jackson, making less than a defensive player, can you? You can't have that.
Yeah. So moving on in the world of sports, we've got the Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. Golden State and Boston. I'm sticking with Golden State. I think, I hate to say this, I think that Boston got a little bit lucky in Game 1. They were shooting the three at a very, very high rate. It was over 50% with on over 40 attempts. And Golden State kind of went cold late in that game. It didn't happen in Game 2. And Golden State kind of put a beating on them there. I think that's kind of the way the rest of the series is going to go.
Yeah, and real quick, shout out to Sutton Def, man. Appreciate you coming
through.
Sutton? One half of Purple Rain Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe over there. Yes, thanks for coming through, man. I said I was going 7. And I also said I also said that game 2, I wasn't going to really know anything about this series until game 2, right? Game 1, they took that win, and they ended up winning pretty convincingly down the stretch. It was going back and forth, and down the stretch they took control. I was like, okay, they stole one. But man, game 2. Man, like you know, like Al Horford was hot game 1. Jason Tatum was not. I think he did okay in game 2.
Yeah, he played fine in game 2.
He played fine in game 2. Al Horford was he was just not there, and they got wiped out. Man, that did not look good. That did not look good. I gotta wait and see until game 3.
Wow, you're gonna be tipping off game 6. Like, I don't know yet, man. I need to see a little bit more. No, it's Warriors in 5.
Oh, it's not Warriors in 5. No, they ain't Warriors in 5. It ain't Warriors in 5. It's going 7. It's going 7. All right. Okay, so look, we'll pick it up there. I know we're not spending that much time today because we got a lot to discuss, but we're gonna discuss some more NBA later this week, probably. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now, the headline: money and morality. It should be money versus morality. I put money and morality in sports. Okay, and the main headline is Deshaun Watson. Okay, but before we get to Deshaun Watson, I want to talk about LIV Golf. Right? What's LIV Golf? I don't watch golfing. I don't watch golfing either. All right, I don't watch golfing either. But break it down real quick. What is LIV Sports, and why do we care about LIV Golf? Why do we care about LIV Golf?
I wonder if they're actually calling it LIV. It's supposed to be. It's LIV. It's Roman numerals.
I've heard everybody call it LIV.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming so, but it's for the number 54 because they play 54 holes as opposed to 72 in the PGA Tour. But LIV Golf is a rival league to the PGA, and typically the PGA doesn't really care where their players play outside of the PGA Tour. They're allowed to play on the European Tour all the time, and it's whatever. This league is a little bit different. They say you can't be on the LIV Tour and play in the PGA. Can't do it. And I think it's because LIV is bankrolled by Saudi Arabia. And just recently, they've been coming hard at some PGA players. Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, 3 pretty big names have all signed on with the LIV Golf League for, in total, over $400 million. That's just their guaranteed contracts to go and play over there. The tournaments themselves, they actually pay out a bit more than the PGA Tour. The winners don't get quite as much. Well, I mean, I think on the tournament by tournament basis, they probably do. But, everybody who plays gets paid at least 6 figures. There's no cut. Each tournament has 48 players. But really the kind of the crux of the matter here is it all right to have the Saudi government essentially coming in and buying all these players? And is it all right for them to go and play, considering Saudi Arabia's history and the royal family's history?
Well, that's what I was going to get to, right? Because, hey, there are allies officially, right? What's the big deal? It's nothing illegal going on here, right? And they're making a lot of money in the title, money, right? What's wrong with that? Well, here's where the morality comes in, right? Saudi Arabia, even though officially we're their allies, they're not good people, okay? I mean, not the citizens, but we're talking about the government. Yes. They're not very good people. They've been known for violating tons of human rights, human rights, policies and stuff like that. And not too long ago, how many years ago was it? It wasn't that long ago. They killed that American reporter Khashoggi, right? And they just don't care. Right. No. They're a country that, look, we do what we want to do. Yes, we commit tons of human rights violations. And so what? Here's some money. And we always say, okay. Yeah. Right. So and that's pretty much what Phil Mickelson said.
I didn't like them all anyway, right?
And that's what Phil Mickelson said it. I'm not sure if it was an interview or a book or something like that. He said, yeah, why would I sign up for something like that? Because of money.
Yeah.
Right. And he also said, he said, look, I have a gambling addiction. I have a little problem with losing my money. He lost money to the tune of $40 million. So, they say, we'll give you $200 million. Right. officially. I'll tell you my theory on that in a second. I don't think I don't think it's yeah, sure, I'll take this money. I think that's owed to them, right? But yeah. So is it okay? Like morally, like, do you think that's okay to get in bed with a government like that, or do you say, hey man, PGA, they have a history of their own too, right? A racist history, a sexist history, right? So what makes them any better? So
I'll say they're better. I will say they're better. They're not murdering people
anymore.
Yeah, Danny says Tiger Woods is better than me. I would have broke my back for the money they offered him. Yeah, allegedly a 9-figure deal, nearly $1 billion for Tiger Woods to sign, and I don't know if he actually turned him down or maybe he's just thinking about it or what.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got money to burn, and that kind of money gets people to just look the other way no matter what you do. I mean, they've bought several Premier League teams. They own Manchester City. They own Sheffield United. They own Newcastle United. I mean, Manchester United or Manchester City is essentially the top team in the Premier League now because they've just been pumping money into them until, since 2008. They said they've spent nearly $3 billion just acquiring players for Manchester City over that time. You look at F1. F1 had a race in Saudi Arabia. And this past season, there was, they were getting ready for the race, and there was a rocket attack, a missile attack, and they're sitting there, the drivers are sitting there, and they can see, the just plume of smoke, which is black smoke going up, and they're like, we can see where this rocket hit, and they're like, is this safe? I mean, I think we should probably not be racing right now, right? It doesn't seem safe, and the Saudi Arabia government spoke very kindly to the officials, I'm sure, and made it clear to them. They said,
you might want to get out there.
You're racing or you're not leaving. And listen, the money is one thing, right? But when you start getting into, because how many of us would have the willpower to say, no, I'm not gonna sign a 6 or a 7, 8-figure deal because of what you did to somebody else, right? But when you start jeopardizing my own personal safety if I don't do what you say, that's a whole different thing. I'm wondering, like, if that's even entering the thought process for some of these golfers.
Sure, absolutely. Phil Mickelson, I feel like no. I feel like what I think happened with Phil Mickelson is they found him at his favorite spot, casino, and he was in a bit of a bind. He said, "Look, Phil, don't even worry about this. We got you. Okay, we're gonna make you right. All you gotta do is come play a few games in our league, and we'll take care of that debt. We'll even throw a couple of dollars extra your way, and you'll be made whole again." And he said, "Yes, please."
Listen, I obviously I don't know Phil Mickelson. I'm not around Phil Mickelson. We haven't, I'm not privy to his medical history or anything like that. But if you saw the picture that came out of him, he's wearing all black. His eyes are wide open. He's got the slick back hair. He looks like ever since he signed with LIV, he's been on the all Coke diet. It looks bad.
Listen, here's what we do know about Phil Mickelson. He lost $40 million gambling.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we do know. And shout out to Tanja.
Not nothing.
Let me give a quick shout out to the folks in the chat. Y'all came in. Oh, look at y'all, man. Thanks for coming through. We got Black Daniels in the house. He says, Rain Gang, yes. Talking about Sutton and Alex. Yes. Thanks for coming through.
Patrick Queen's favorite YouTuber.
Right, yes, there, Alex. Yes, that's right. Matt Williams says Warriors in 6. Yes, and I saw you today. He says 2 more hours until Wiggins goes off. Okay. Tanja says, "Hey, lunch break and Ravens flock." Thanks for coming through, Tanja.
What's up,
Tanja? Black Daniel says, "Is this the league in Dubai?" No.
Well, they play all over. Their first tournament is tomorrow. It's going to be in London. They've got several tournaments in the U.S., a couple in Saudi Arabia. I forget where all of them are. I think they're starting off with 8 tournaments, and they're planning on investing a few billion more over the next few years and increasing that to 14.
Isn't one of their games at on Trump's golf course?
A couple of them, yeah.
A couple of them.
Tournaments.
There you go. Shout out to Sterling. What's good, man? Thanks for coming through.
Sterling?
All right. Okay. All right. We got to keep it pushing. That's the first story.
You see how bad the Saudi Arabia government is? That Trump thing didn't even make it into the description.
I know. What's up, D Below? What's good with you, man? Thanks for coming through. Okay. Rapid fire. Let's go.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna go straight to the Broncos sell for
Oh, you want to do the
$4.65
Broncos?
billion.
You want to do the Broncos next?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Broncos next. All right. The Broncos, yes, $4.65 billion. That's the highest sold team to date.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to go higher from there. The next team that sells is easily going to clear $5 million. They said the only reason the Panthers didn't go for that much was the timing, right? Jay Richardson had to sell the team quick, and sports gambling had just passed, or was just getting ready to pass.
Yeah.
So
not quite. It wasn't ramping up yet. It is. I mean, not in full swing now, but it's getting there.
Yeah. So it's I think Rob Walton, one of the Walton kids, is a chairman now. The Walton family owns the Broncos. Another terrible group of people. Okay. If you shop at Walmart, if you know anything about Walmart destroys communities. I know you love the savings. But man, they
some of their workers because they can't afford to shop anywhere else.
Yeah, they don't pay their workers. They destroy small businesses, and a lot of times they take local subsidizing from schools to build their stores. So, and look, this is not me saying don't shop at Walmart or anything like that. And I'm not pushing my morals onto you, but these are terrible people. Okay. Yes. They don't pay their taxes. They've been accused of welfare fraud and all kinds of stuff. The list is long. They have documentaries on these people, right? But they own the team now, and it is what it is. You won't get that part of the Waltons from anybody else. They're not going to tell you how horrible people they are. They'll just tell you that they make billions of dollars, and the team's in good hands and all this stuff. But Tanja says she stays in Walmart. Hey, it's all good. Look, listen. We are too poor to be that picky. Okay,
we don't vote with our wallet. That's why we have a platform here to say this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't take my picture in Walmart, and it's all good.
Exactly. OTR Mike says, I think the Walton family owns the sports teams in Colorado. All of them.
Says.
Okay. Yeah, Derek says facts. Jose Tepper saved major money. Yeah, he capitalized on it. Okay, so I mean, is there anything else we need to add to that?
Not at the moment, no. But that's going to be relevant here in a moment when we start talking about.
Well, hold on. And Demolo makes a good point. Walmart has no green light in NYC. They did try to open up a Walmart, New York City, and Austin, DC. DC blocked it as well.
That's why New York's the greatest city in the world, right? Nah, y'all don't.
Nah.
Nobody. All right. I guess we'll move on then. The Browns mess up with Deshaun Watson. It certainly looks like it, right? This is one of those things where, because in case you haven't heard, there are more lawsuits coming. It's up to 24 now. The lawyer for all of the women suing Deshaun Watson said they've been getting a lot of calls since the Real Sports episode aired, and there may be even more lawsuits coming. The Browns and the NFL are saying, "Oh man, we didn't know about this," but which is not a good look when you should have been doing your due diligence before ever agreeing to a trade, agreeing to that contract. And now there's the calls for essentially for him to kind of, I mean, you have some people calling for him to be essentially banished from the league, right? Because you look at Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley got a year for $1,500 of losing bets, mind you. But if you compare that to
pulling the Phil Mickelson on a smaller scale,
if you compare that to what Deshaun Watson's doing, if he got a year, how many decades does Deshaun get, right? And this is a thing that's picked up a lot of steam on social media. People saying, don't even try to work this out with Deshaun. Don't try to make this okay. Don't try to move forward and have him as your franchise quarterback. You need to pull the plug, right? And on one hand, I think, I mean, he's clearly not the guy that he sold himself as, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. But then on the other hand, I say no, because you look around the NFL. I mean, he's not even the only high-profile quarterback to have these kind of issues. You had Ben Roethlisberger, you had Brett Favre, you had Peyton Manning. They didn't do anything to those guys, right? You have players all around the league. You got Tyreek, massage. What's up, living legend?
Always with the perfect timing.
You've got it becomes a question of how do you legislate it, right? Because if you want to say, hey, you know what, we're drawing a line in the sand right now, zero tolerance. You know, if you have these kind of issues, violence against women or sexual assault or anything like that, you're gone. I'm all for that. Deshaun can be gone, Tyreek can be gone, anybody else who has those kind of issues can be gone. But that also means, like I said, no Ben Roethlisberger can't be part of the league, no Peyton Manning and Eli on Monday Night Football, any of that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But my problem with it is I know that's not the way that it's going to go. It would be Deshaun Watson, you're suspended for 2 years, 3 years, however long, and we'll work around everybody else, because that's how the NFL operates.
Yeah. This is perfect. This is perfect right here. OTR Mike says Peyton got jammed up. See, now how many of you guys know about Peyton Manning? When we say Peyton Manning's been involved in something like this, how many of you guys know? Just put a thumbs up or say yes in the chat. I'm curious, because look, Peyton Manning, he might be before some of you guys' time, and he's retired already, and the media doesn't ever talk about it, but serious case.
Mm-hmm.
How they try to cover up was even worse.
Yeah.
Right. And involved his father. His father's a terrible person as well, Archie Manning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The only person I like in that family is Eli.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't talk. Yeah. Okay. Living Legend remembers Peyton. Danity doesn't know about the story. Yes. Hendo knows about it. Okay. So this went back to his time in Tennessee.
Yes.
And he had a situation with a trainer where he teabagged her. Okay. If you guys know what teabag is, right? And she was upset about it. She complained about it. He denied it at first, and then he tried to say, "Oh, actually, I didn't do that. I tried to moon somebody else or something like that." So he tried to make up some excuse, and she filed a lawsuit. She got fired over it. Archie Manning and Peyton, they both basically try to ruin this woman's career.
They did ruin her career. They didn't try. Yeah. They did.
Yeah.
They tried to ruin her reputation by saying, just tell people she sleeps with black guys.
Yes. Yeah.
It was. They essentially got her banished from her work, and I think she had to end up signing an NDA or something like that, and she can't work in that field anymore, and they ruined her career to keep this off of Peyton, essentially. And it never really stuck. Tanja saying Ben had 1 charge, Deshaun has 24 and 66, and possibly 100. Ben had a couple of accusers, but, and this is important, neither one of them have any charges. Deshaun hasn't been charged with anything. He's being sued.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Ben Roethlisberger, he had 2 accusations, and if you listen to the stories, they are just terrible.
Yeah.
Right. Drag one woman to the bathroom.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, I don't want to.
It's not a comparison,
belittle what's happening with Deshaun Watson. What Ben did was worse. I think I think the number of people, obviously, but the acts that Ben committed allegedly committed were worse. But again, neither one of them were charged with anything. Peyton Manning was never charged with anything. So and that's why I said it gets into how do you legislate things like that, because
we didn't even talk about Brett Favre. Did we mention Brett Favre?
I mentioned it, but we didn't talk about him. But yeah,
he didn't get suspended either.
No.
And he refused to cooperate with the league, and they just let him play out his career and retire.
Yolanda says formal charges are forthcoming. Stay tuned. Maybe, but I thought that before when it was just the 22 lawsuits, and
that's what I thought. Because then they was it 2.
There were 2 separate grand juries that came back with no charges. So I mean, we'll see. like I said, it seems like there's a lot more coming, so we don't know.
So,
but yeah.
So okay, my thoughts on it real quick is man, look, you know, a lot of teams felt comfortable with what was going on. No charges pending. He was already out the league for a year. Not officially, but that's what happened. I think everybody felt like this will die down. He might get a couple game suspension, and then you can move on. I think and the Browns gave up a lot with this in mind. And if I'm the Browns, if I'm looking at all this and saying, all right, cool, one more person adding their name to a lawsuit doesn't change anything in my mind, because we're not talking about charges. We're talking about women coming out adding their names to the lawsuit, and I think this is just a strategy to get him to just settle now, right? Which is what he should do. Like the Browns should be saying, and I'm not saying like the women are lying or anything like that. I'm just saying like they're coming out one by one, little by little. I think, you know, the way they're timing it is to kind of put pressure on him. Like, listen, man, but we can keep going. You know, we can keep going. If you're not gonna, you know, own up to it, if you're not gonna, you know, compensate us, we can just keep, you know, putting this out there. If I'm the Browns, I say, look, settle up now. You know, whatever, whether you did it or not, we're not even asking you. We're saying settle these lawsuits and put a rest to this, so we can you know, put us behind this. You serve your suspension, and then we keep it moving. If the league, look, you know, if they suspend him for over a year, I have a problem just in terms of how they treated other quarterbacks with just as bad, if not worse, allegations, right? So I don't see a year. It could be 8 games, right? And I think the Browns are okay with that, right? They got him for the long term. And in fact, they didn't invest that much money into him this year, right? But, you know, yes, 66 women in 17 months is a lot. Yeah, man. Yeah, he's got a problem. They should have never dealt with them. But
and
they
also
did.
They said that they may be adding the Texans as a defendant in these lawsuits as well, because they were providing hotel rooms, they were providing massage tables, they were kind of essentially setting him up. And so his lawyers, or the women's lawyer, said he may be adding the Texans. I see what you're saying here, Tanja, but again, he has not been charged up to this point. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, that's all we're saying.
Dee's saying Trevor Bauer got 2 years for doing less than Watson. If true, Watson needs to be suspended for at least 2 years, and the Texans and Browns need to be punished as well. Adit,
and Trevor Bauer.
No, he did not. If what she said about Trevor Bauer was true, he absolutely did more than Deshaun Watson. But again, like as I said, it's a different sport, different standards, and all that. But if everything that has been alleged is true, I mean, he's finished, Deshaun.
So, okay, let me ask you guys. Okay, there's a reason why we did this story. Let me ask you guys. How do you feel about Deshaun Watson? Do you think he should still be able to play football? Do you think there's enough here to say he shouldn't play the game anymore? It's too much, or do you say, hey, it's bad, but you know, he should still be able to play? No criminal charges. He's not gonna go to prison or anything like that, and he may not be a good person, but he's able to play, and they already signed to a contract. He should be able to play. Let us know. I want to read some of these comments here, and shout out to Attitude Pop. Attitude Pop says, bro, this Deshaun Watson situation is starting to get strange. I believe these women are lying because he keeps denying he did anything. If he did something, he might as well say he did it. Texas set him up. That's not how that goes, Attitude. If 24 women are lying, that is some bad luck.
Like that is, because I see Living Legends hanging here
that
too.
That is organized crime, right there.
Accusations without evidence is he said, she said, but it's not he said, she said. It's he said, and 100 different women said. There's no chance that they're all lying. And to Tanja's point, she's saying he did something. There, a text. He asked a woman crying, "Is she okay?" Once he left because she was crying. Well, look, I don't think anybody is saying that we believe he didn't do anything.
So hold on. Mm-hmm. We gotta clarify. It's not 66 accusers, right? It's 24 accusers so far.
Right.
66 women. They're saying he booked 66 different women massage therapists, right? Yeah. Not all of them are saying he did something. 24 so far. Yet.
We'll see.
So that's the thing. And Sutton says it's going to get to a point where the Browns can't play him at all just because of PR concerns. When you come this far, you just can't care about PR
Listen,
concerns, in my opinion.
the Rams were playing Leonard Little with protests going on outside because he killed somebody while he was drunk driving. Like, these teams do not care.
Yeah.
And that's why we kind of bring it up, because it's a lot of noise about Deshaun Watson right now, right? But it's not as much noise about Daniel Snyder, who was allegedly forcing his cheerleaders to be escorts. There's not as much noise about Jerry Jones, who has a lot of this kind of stuff in his history. Like, are we talking about Jerry sell the Cowboys, Daniel sell the Commanders? And I know that it's easier to point at Deshaun Watson and say, man, he's a terrible person, get him out of the league. And again, not even disagreeing with that, but it's the problem that I have with it is it can't just be him.
Yeah. And no, I agree with you, son. Not in 2022. No, I think when they signed this deal with him, they understood they're taking a hit for 2022, to be honest. Right. The way, from my understanding, the contract is structured, it's not a big hit in the first year. Right. He's not getting that much in his first year. And I think they set up that way because they anticipated some sort of suspension. So, no, go ahead.
I know, I was saying, and that didn't happen with Leonard Little in 2022, but Tyreek Hill wasn't that long ago, man.
No.
Yeah.
He is referring to what you're saying before about like the Browns not being able to play him for this year.
No, I thought he was talking about, because I said that they were playing Leonard Little with protests going on outside. He's saying in 2022 though. And I'm saying,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that didn't happen in 2022, but Tyreek Hill was just a couple years ago, where people thought, hey, he might be getting out the league, and they just signed him to a massive extension.
Now, I'm just curious, like, what do you guys think he should be able to play? Or do you say nah, that's just we gotta put a stop to stuff like this. We gotta have some sort of standards. I'm curious because that's why we brought up those first two stories, right? That's why we brought the first two stories, because what you're going to hear a lot in the media is about Deshaun Watson. You're going to hear this is a bad look, for the NFL. He shouldn't play again. The Browns, they're going to catch all the flack for it. And, look,
Couldn't happen to a nicer franchise.
They're going to catch all the flack for it.
Yeah.
But what you won't hear about are the Waltons. What you won't hear about is the LIV League backed by the Saudi government, right? These are evil people. And you're not going to hear a peep about it. So where do your morals lie, I guess, right? And listen, and this isn't us saying you gotta be one way or the other way or whatever, right? We bring this stuff up just to say, when you talk about this stuff with other people, or when you read stuff on social media, because people have agendas, people say all kinds of things. Think about who's saying it, think about why they're saying it, and also just realize, okay, they can have their opinion about it, but don't make you feel guilty. Don't let them make you feel guilty about you rooting for a team or whatever. If you're a Browns fan watching this, right, and you're happy about the Deshaun Watson acquisition, this stuff can bother you, but you can still be excited about your team, is what I'm saying. You can still root for your team with Deshaun Watson on it, right? Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody push their morals on you, right? Because I can ask you guys, do you shop at Walmart? You know what I'm saying? You do? Well, let me tell you what you're supporting. Okay.
So, yeah, don't try to shame me while you're tweeting from your iPhone that was made with slave labor. But I can say myself, I wanted Carolina to get Deshaun Watson. They were in it allegedly. They didn't get it done. But there, like you said, there's a difference between saying, hey, I like this guy as a person and I want this guy on my football team. Because again, if you're not going down that road of zero tolerance, and if you have these kind of issues, you're out, somebody is going to have Deshaun Watson, right? Yeah. And the Falcons and the Saints were two other teams who were in it. So if he goes to Atlanta or he goes to New Orleans and they're beating Carolina twice every year because they have Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to feel better about the Panthers because they didn't get Deshaun Watson. And the head coach is not going to be able to keep his job because they don't have Deshaun Watson. The GM's not going to be able to keep his job because, hey, we don't have a quarterback, but you said we couldn't get Deshaun Watson. Like it goes down that whole line. And like I said, if you're allowing these players in the league, if you're allowing Tyreek Hill in the league, if you're allowing Deshaun Watson in the league, if you're allowing all these other guys in the league, then I mean, it's tough to say, hey, well, we're going to police the morality of the fan base.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because it's all about PR, right? We get it, but man, like you said, like Daniel Snyder is an owner, and I mean he has power over these people, right? Like he's willing his power to do terrible things, and even now, like he stole from the other owners, right? We just talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Check out that video. He stole from the other owners. I mean, that might be what the thing that gets him out, but excuse me.
Yeah.
But he's still here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah. Danity saying, personally, I tend not to automatically believe women when they make accusations because it's unfair to black men, but 24 women not lying. So I think a suspension is warranted, 8 to 17 games. And listen, I tend to agree with you there. And even if even if all of them were lying, he would still get suspended. That's the way the NFL rolls. You remember Ezekiel Elliott got suspended when their own investigation found that he did nothing wrong.
The investigators suggested, she recommended, do not believe this witness. She's not credible. You heard the audio of her saying, they're not going to believe you. You're a black man. I'm a white woman. They'll never believe you. And they still suspended him.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. But listen, I don't believe anybody. I believe facts available to me. And we're not going to always know all the facts, but this stuff right here, like you said, that's hard. That's hard to look past. So I believe those women. Sorry.
Yeah. So with that, kind of wrapping up with the Sean there, we can move on. Do you want to go with your lunch money bets now and then come back for the rest of the stories?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it because D Weezy's waiting. All right. We have more to discuss, and we're gonna discuss a little Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's not worth discussing, but we'll talk about it. Okay, we'll talk a little Ravens. We're gonna talk some Panthers too in a minute. That's gonna be fun to discuss as well. But now it is time for you gambling degenerates and Phil Mickelson to get your pen and papers ready, because D Weezy is in the house. What's going on, Derek?
What's going on, fellas?
How we doing, man? How we doing?
We're doing good. And yes, if a Phil Mickelson or Calvin Ridley wants to come join the show, there will be a seat or 2 or 12, however many seats they need. We'll have them on.
Calvin needs you, man. I think Phil needs you worse, but I don't like Phil. Phil ain't coming on this show. Calvin can come on the show anytime.
All right, so what we got going on, man?
So yeah, I'm digging into some of the player props that are going on with this game, and also some of the things I've noticed looking at the spread and how the past 2 games have played out in the finals. It's hard to say that the book really has a feel for it. They know how the game's going to end up. Something that I noticed, you look at the spreads, Boston Celtics -3.5. But if you take a little scroll down and find where they're listing margin of victory, you see something like Boston to win by 3 to 6 points +500. And so when you start navigating some of the other outcome totals versus their odds, you start to see a little bit that it's fair to say that I think nobody knows how this game's gonna go, and it could be Golden State winning by +3, it could be Boston winning by +3, but I do not like the spread where it's sitting at that Boston -3.5. The spread's been about roughly in that range for the home team, Golden State, in the first 2 games, and we saw how that went, basically flip-flop games. And so on this one, like I said, I'm going to be personally a little hedge play. Like I mentioned, Golden State to win by 3 to 6 points was plus 650. Boston to win by 3 to 6 points is plus 500, I believe, at my book. And I think that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a close game that could potentially come down to a final shot and maybe get pushed out a little bit by free throws.
All right. Okay. Degenerate Ron has let you down tonight, Weezy.
See? And one other thing I did have that I saw, for neither team to run the wire, basically be leading at the end of every quarter of the game. The yes minus 140, a little higher than what I like to play when you're talking about minus numbers. But I do feel like this is, like I said, first game at halftime, we had Golden State in the lead. Second game at halftime, we had Boston in the lead. So, both games ended completely different, but that halftime score wasn't really a reflection on the overall outcome of the game.
Okay. All right. Now, do you think officiating has been a big part of this series so far? Because I've seen a lot of that out there.
I think people are making more of the officiating because of the players involved. Do I think we're seeing any more or excessive officiating on like Draymond and some of the antics we've seen? No, I think the officials have actually done a pretty good job at towing that line of kind of not trying to be involved in the game, but at the same time trying to not just let somebody run wild on the floor. Because, I mean, we saw in game 2, there was a number of instances where Green might have maybe deserved a second technical in that game, but it almost seemed like, the officials were a bit hesitant, not to say to punish a superstar, that narrative that we've heard, but then just not to interject themselves into the situation. A part of the official's job is to try and de-escalate a lot of these situations and instances where regular season, you might have seen a double technical in some of those instances, and
Right.
it being the playoffs, them trying to let the players play and try to regulate the game more than just calling fouls and blowing the whistle.
And I think that I believe with Draymond's next technical, he gets suspended a game as well. And I feel like you got to keep that in the back of your mind as well. Not like I said, not to say I'm not going to punish you for whatever, but if you're going to give him a tech and take away an extra game, it's got to be something way over the line,
Yeah. Well, all right. There are your lunch money bets. Make sure you write those down. If you need some more of these hot takes, all right, you can find D Weezy in our Discord at go to patreon.com/LBHT Show. Okay. We'll talk more about that in a second. Also, D Weezy has some other places where you can find him. Okay. Backyard Action Media. All right. D Weezy, tell them real quick about your channel and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can catch me at Backyard Action Media here on YouTube. I currently put up a video earlier today covering even more player props that for Game 3. You can get at me on Twitter at dweatherly90. Come at me with your questions, your insights. What are you looking for the NFL season, upcoming seasons? Baseball. I always got a lot of things going on, folks.
All right.
Yeah, I just retweeted that video you put up earlier. So make sure you check out our timeline. Click on that video, hit like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications. You'll get all of the future plays from D Weezy as well.
All right, D Weezy, and he'll be joining us for the overtime show. This is going to be a fun overtime show, guys. So you might want to check that out. D Weezy, we'll see you shortly, my friend. Thanks for coming through.
All right, everybody, take care.
All right. As our man Derek. And like I said before, patreon.com/LBHT Show right below me. All right. That's how you sign up for as little as $3 a month. We have 3 tiers, 3, 10, and 20. B, tell them about those tiers real quick.
Yeah, so for the $3 tier, you're going to get entrance into our NFL Pick'em League, where we give away a custom LBHT trophy at the end of the season. At $10, you get the LBHT Crew coin. That also gets you into our fantasy league that we're going to be starting up closer to the start of the season. We've got a dynasty league going right now. It is full, but if there's enough interest, we'll start up another dynasty league and we give away a customized championship belt there. In the $20 tier, that's a kind of a combined tier for this show as well as our other show, Ring Kings, that we do with OTR Mike. And that's going to get you, everything that I just mentioned, as well as the custom poker deck that we did for our top 25 boxers of all time. It looks a little like that. Each card has one of the 25 fighters, and it's got our logo on the back there. I think those came out really well. And all the tiers will get you entrance into our overtime show that we do every week after the live show, as well as our Discord channel.
All right, there you go. So make sure, 31 people in here, make sure you hit that like button. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button. All right. Also, what you see right below $sign LBHT Show, that's how we do our super chat. Okay. If you're looking for a super chat button, that's how we do it. Also, that pin link that you see in the comment. Those are two ways that you can donate to the show. Leave your comment. You get a nice animation right next to my face right there. All right. Oh, the merch. No, we can't not talk about the sweet merch. Do you like what we're wearing? If you do, right there is where you go. LBHTshow.com/shop. Speaking of merch, Danity, I'm starting to feel a little offended here. Like you don't want some free merch? I mean, it's like we haven't received a single DM. Is Jake P in the house? We haven't seen JP since that show. I hope he's okay, man. Yes, DM us, Living Legend. Hit us up if you're on Twitter. DM us, or we can send you a message on Patreon, I guess. We gotta get some information. Like we got some stuff to give to you. Who was the other winner? Somebody else won something too. Who was it?
That was King.
King
95.
Man, y'all don't like free stuff. Hey, Mike said he'll take the jersey. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So here we go. Cam Newton. He was on the latest episode of The Pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And he still contends that he is still a top 32 QB. Channing Crowder has some pushback for that. And I like free everything. That's what I'm talking about, ZDBs. But Cam Newton challenged him and said, okay, we always talk about the top 10 quarterbacks. Who are your bottom 5 or your bottom 10? Who's at the bottom that I can't beat out? And Channing Crowder didn't have an answer for that. Right. So I'm gonna ask you guys, top 32. We're not talking about the top 10, right? Right now, he can't say he's top 10. He's had 2 terrible years. Although I still feel like he has a lot more left in the tank than what he's shown. He also admitted that he put himself in bad situations, which I agree. But do you think he could still be a starter in this league? B, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so first off, obviously he did put himself in a bad situation. He said he didn't really know the offense in New England. And then the same thing happened again in Carolina. He came in and, he was playing like 3 days after they signed him, starting, less than 10 days after they signed him. So he didn't know the offense there, kind of put himself, behind the 8 ball a little bit. In terms of whether or not he can still play, it's tough to say. But if you're going to ask me, do I want Cam Newton or Drew Lock or Geno Smith, I'm taking Cam every time. If you're going to ask me, do I want Cam or Davis Mills, probably going to take Cam. There's, I'm struggling to come up with some names for some other terrible quarterbacks at the moment, but there's a lot of guys around the league who just straight up can't play. I mean, if you Jared Goff is another guy. Like, I've seen what Jared Goff can do at his best. I'll take Cam. I'll see if Cam's got anything left.
Cam's never had his coach just scream at him for just being so bad.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You have coaches like that can't stand players like that, like Jared Goff, right? too timid, right? That doesn't stand up for himself. You want him to kind of have more of a backbone, be more of a leader. But then when you have Cam, who is, the ultimate alpha, you can't handle it, Right. So it's just like, well, what do you want? He can absolutely take that job in Detroit. Why are you wasting your time with Jared Goff?
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at Daniel Jones. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. I take Cam there. And I'm not saying like cut those guys, but have a competition, see who wins it, right? It's just they're Joe Flacco's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Big Reg. Okay, you will not bring your Zach Wilson slander here, but I'll take Cam over Zach Wilson. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of places that should be calling, but teams don't want to start a quarterback controversy.
I'll be right back. Let me fix this internet real quick because I'm looking real choppy on your guys' side. Okay, This is unacceptable. I hope you can hear me okay. But read some comments. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Derek saying Cam eats kneecaps. Yeah, but yeah, I think there's a lot of teams who would benefit from having Cam Newton in the room. But a lot of teams aren't going to do that because Cam is a huge personality. Cam is always going to be the story. He's always going to be the center of attention, whether he's trying to be or not. The media loves to talk about Cam Newton, kind of like the way they love to talk about Lamar Jackson. But just in terms of talent, yeah, I mean, there's several places where I would say, go ahead and sign Cam, see what he's got. I mean, listen, Atlanta, I love Marcus Mariota. I think Marcus Mariota is going to play really well, but he hasn't proven that recently. You could bring in Cam, New Orleans, Jameis Winston. I mean, I don't know for certain that he would beat out Cam. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's tough to say. Like Channing Crowder was kind of pushing back on him, saying, "Oh, I've seen you play the last couple of years. Definitely not top 32." I think it's difficult to say that. It's difficult to say just you're definitely not that guy anymore when you're talking about a dude who's been injured for a while and then coming back didn't really have the opportunity to work his way back into the starting role.
All right. Yeah. No. So okay. It's gonna mess up again. This is I blame StreamYard. There's nothing wrong with my internet. It's StreamYard. All right. Just remember what I said a while back. If you ever see us promote StreamYard, just know we got the bag.
Be happy. Okay? Be happy for us.
We made it. That's the only way we're gonna promote StreamYard. Yeah, I just don't like his setup in New England or Carolina. Two places that they just weren't that invested in him. Yeah. And and he admitted he wasn't really that prepared in New England. Like he was still learning. There's a lot to learn, and a lot of players have said that it's kind of a complicated system to learn. And I just don't think they gave him the same chances as Daniel Jones.
Listen, I'm sorry. I'll take Cam over Jacoby Brissett, who is going to be the starter in Cleveland.
Well, look, people will say it's his attitude, it's the way he dresses and all this stuff. That's people don't want to, they don't want to deal with that. But why? Like, he's not hurting anybody. He's not disrupting the locker room. Why do you have a problem with that? You love it when it was Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick just finished up a 17-year career, and he has been a bad quarterback for all 17 of them.
And somebody had the audacity to ask if he should be in the Hall of Fame.
It's funny when he grows his beard out, look like a caveman. It's funny when he wears his teammates' clothes and he rocks the chains and everything. He's got swag. Then that's funny, right? Yeah. He's Fitzmagic when he's going out there and he's being careless with the ball. And
sometimes only throwing 2 interceptions.
Right. Like you love him then. Like he's a lovable guy. But Cam goes out there. He dresses funny, and he likes to be he likes to be stylish in his way. Mm-hmm. But where's the harm in that? What's the harm in it?
But listen, people will say he's a distraction, and that's one of the things I was just mentioning. The team, he's always going to be the center of the story because the media loves talking about Cam, just like they love talking about Lamar. But you can't tell me that he's a distraction. But what we just saw with Jack Del Rio today is not, because Jack Del Rio is not going to lose his job. Jack Del Rio, nothing's going to happen to Jack Del Rio for calling January 6th a little dust up.
Well, yeah, okay. So if you for those of you who don't know, he compared what happened during George Floyd protest. He compared that to the January 6th insurrection. Okay, and he's tried to say, oh well, you know, businesses were damaged during the George Floyd protests. You know, millions of dollars of businesses and all that stuff. There's just a little dust up at January 6th. No property was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Apparently forgetting the people who were killed.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
but Jack Del Rio, I mean, calling him a meathead is you know, like I say, it's an insult to meatheads. Like, this dude is a goddamn moron. This is the same guy who brought an axe into his locker room and subsequently got his punter injured because they were chopping wood, and the punter took a chunk out of his leg. Like, Jack Del Rio is the dumbest person that you'll ever let behind a microphone.
And look, you know, he's a mega guy. He's said it before. And okay, whatever. Your political leanings are your political leanings. But to be so open about it and discuss it and just be wrong about stuff like this, right? You're in a locker room full of black athletes that definitely don't think the way you think. Maybe you got a couple that feel that way, but you know, but if he's willing to say that to the media, what do you think he's saying behind closed doors in the locker room around those guys? Right?
Yeah,
that's a problem.
And I gotta say too, like I've always been a fan of Ron Rivera, but I lose a lot of respect for him for having a guy like that on his staff.
Yeah,
and keeping him around.
Yeah, he's being too loyal to his friends, right? Look, I got a lot of criticisms about coaches in this league and, you know, front office because they don't act like professionals.
Yeah, because I promise you can find somebody else to coordinate a terrible defense.
Yeah, I'm all for the hooking up your friends, hooking up your family with jobs, but they have to get with the program, right? You have to tell them, look, you gotta watch what you say, keep that stuff to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, we run a tight ship around here. This I'm giving you a big opportunity. Don't mess it up. Anything mess it up, look, love you, but you gotta go. Yeah. You know, you got more friends, bring in some other friends. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't, like, none of these coaches, they never seem to rein it in when they're coordinators or whatever mess up. They just let it ride, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we want to add to that?
No, I think we covered Cam pretty well.
Look, I want to say one more thing. Cam Newton Panthers 2022. All right. They're not going back out there with Sam Darnold. I don't care what they say.
Sam Darnold had a fantastic day today. One of the tweets, he hit Terrace Marshall in stride, beating Dante Jackson downfield for a touchdown. He had a couple other beautiful throws. They said it was his best day as a Panther. Don't care at all. We know he sucks.
His best day as a Panther was in OTAs. They're not going out there with him. I'm just saying, can't stay by your phone.
Baker.
Baker's not going there.
The trade talks are heating up again. They're talking about possibly a Baker for Darnold swap, which I don't know why either team would do that. But
okay, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here. You David Tepper, you got a small sample size of what it's like to have Cam Newton in your locker room, because as soon as they signed Cam, ticket sales went right back up. Right? They went right back up. Like, people were already there. They were done over there. Our guys over at Panthers Nation Podcast were organizing a march on Mint Street. Okay. Like, they were done with it. And they signed Cam. Everybody's happy again. Everybody's going, the stadiums are filled again. They want to see Cam play. Okay. That hasn't changed, because I think a lot of those fans, right, still think, okay, he came in, halfway towards the end of the season, whatever, and no, he didn't look great, but it was all busted. Like, you fired Joe Brady, right? Just Matt Rule looked like he was on his way out. He looked like he's still on his way out. So a lot of dysfunction going on over there, but bring him back this season. Let him have a camp. Let him learn through McAdoo's system, and give it one more shot, because nobody's going to show up for Sam Darnold, right?
It really also depends on where he's at mentally in terms of, his career and what he wants to be. If he comes in and he tells you, you know what, I'm all for coming in and trying to help Matt Corral be the best that he can be, then absolutely, because Sam Darnold's taking you nowhere. If his attitude is, I'm the man, I'm going to be the starter for the next X number of years, then it's not really going to work in Carolina.
I don't even have a problem with that, right? Because that's what Kurt Warner did, right? Kurt Warner, when he went to Arizona and they spent the first round pick on Matt Leinart, he was like, yeah, man, love Matt Leinart. He's going to be great, but right now it's my time.
Yeah, but Kurt was playing at an MVP level. Cam hasn't. If Cam plays, I'm saying right now today, if Cam comes in and he has a great season, and he's playing at that high level, and then all bets are off. Obviously, you're not going to be in position to draft a quarterback at that point. It's whatever. I'm saying right now today, he can't be like, you know what? Listen, I'm the man. I'm not trying to teach this kid anything.
Yeah,
because right now where you're at is you're invested somewhat in Matt Corral. It's not a huge investment, but you are invested. You used a couple third-round picks on him. He's supposed to be the guy, at least for this coming year, and to see what you have in him, to see if you do need to go out and get another quarterback. So if he's saying, yeah, I'll come in, I'll mentor him a bit, I'll teach him what I know, and I'll help him as much as I can. Cool, bring him in.
All right. Danny says, so many expectations for players being distractions, but a grown man doesn't have the same scrutiny. Right. Yeah. Like I hate that. I hate that term. Oh, distraction. I thought you were a professional. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody dressing differently than you is going to distract you on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody saying something that you don't like, you can't do your job all of a sudden. Nah. Demi Lowe says Cam needs to stay in a small market. He never gets positive news coverage. He'll never get it anywhere. That's just that's just what it is. Mr. J says I don't have Javonte.
He's talking to Hendo, and I'm going to put
I already knew.
Now.
I already knew.
No trade discussions during the live show. That's not a thing that we do here, sir. It's not a thing that we do here.
Look, our league is competitive. I love it.
Savages.
I love it. Mikey says, I love to see Cam and be more Lamar and Cam gadget plays for everyone. The only reason why I say I know is because don't enable Greg Roman anymore. Right? Make him be a coach. Okay. Right now he's just being lazy. He's playing Madden. Okay. All right. Speaking of Lamar, you want to get to Lamar? Yep. All right, look, man. Pat on the back, man. We got through most of these. All right, we got through most of these stories. Yeah, okay.
All of them.
First
time ever.
Look, this is. I was debating whether or not to even discuss this. I don't like discussing stuff like this. These are the type of stories that me and B try our hardest to avoid. Right? If there's not any news, we're not going to cover it, which is why we gave you the show that we gave you today. Okay. There's nothing going on right now. Right. And I know you guys love your Ravens and you're here for the Ravens content. There's nothing going on. It's voluntary workouts. Okay. Maybe next week when Lamar shows up, maybe we'll have a little bit more, but we're not going to try to make something out of nothing over here. We want to give you stuff we want to give you some juicy stories. We want to give you something that's fun to talk about.
But this is looking like ass, but whatever. So I don't know.
But this was so stupid. This was so stupid. And shout out to Engraven. Engraven did a video of this earlier. I was just like, you know what? Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up.
I don't remember who it was that said it, but somebody on Twitter, he was like, "Who says no?" And he said Lamar Jackson and a third-round pick.
Oh, it was a third-round pick too.
Yeah, Lamar and a third for Tua, Lynn Bowden Jr., 2 firsts next year, and a 5th, like in 2024 or something like that. He says, "Who says no?" Because Lamar gets the mega deal. He goes over there and he plays with Tyreek. I mean, listen, I don't even need to talk about that because obviously Miami says yes. But Baltimore, he says Baltimore's getting the next Deebo Samuel in Lynn Bowden Jr. And I'm like, why don't they just go and trade for the real Deebo Samuel? If that's right.
Yeah.
Why does it have to come with? I mean, listen, I like Tua and I'm rooting for Tua, but why does it have to come with the limp-armed quarterback?
that's just a fan being a fan, right? You're trying to figure out a way. Listen, here's my thing. You tank for Tua. You got Tua. Stick with Tua. They gave Tua a lot of weapons. And listen, I'm not as down on Tua as a lot of people. I think Tua is a good quarterback. And, what are you going to say if he goes out there and balls out this year?
I'll say this. Obviously, it's a ridiculous trade, right?
Yeah.
Baltimore is not going to trade Lamar to Miami for Tua. But even if they were at the point where they were like, we got to move Lamar, that's not enough. That's not Tua and 2 firsts. That's not enough. Lynn Bowden doesn't move the needle at all in this trade, and you're given a 3rd round pick anyway.
Even if you added Lynn Bowden and Tyreek Hill to that trade, I would say hell no.
It's just not. It's not enough for a 25-year-old franchise quarterback, former MVP.
What did the Browns just give up for Deshaun Watson?
I forget what exactly.
Everything. They gave up everything.
A few 1st-round picks, but even and that's with the guy who was damaged goods.
Yes, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. He hadn't played for a whole year. Okay, you still have these allegations
trying to make it too.
Yeah, and they're like, "We'll pay it.
Yeah,
whatever it costs, we'll pay it." Lamar has an impeccable record, right off the field, right?
And this is by the way, this is why we always say, we don't want to say that these are good people or bad people if you don't really know them, because a couple of years ago, if you asked, you say, gun to your head, what do you think about Deshaun Watson? I think Deshaun Watson seems like a great guy.
Right.
Right. The only person that I'm confident in saying is a good person is Warwick Dunn.
Yeah. Yeah, Hendo, he said Flores didn't want to, he wanted Herbert. Yeah. And they got him up out of there. Yeah. Dandy says not enough. Yes. Tanja says no trade. I agree, Tanja. No trade. Let's see.
Yes, living legend. That is 100% true.
Lamar
wants to be like Lamar, Chris. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, listen, they need to listen, and I can't. This is probably the only time you're going to hear me say this. And now I can't even remember the guy's name. Oh my God. They need to listen to that former Detroit quarterback who ran out of the back of the end zone, who doesn't season his food. Dan Orlovsky. There it is. They need to listen to Dan Orlovsky and pay Lamar whatever he wants. That's the only. Listen to. I'll never say this again. Listen to Colin Cowherd. Pay Lamar his money.
I heard that. I was just like, I can't disagree with anything he said. Colin Cowherd said, I can't believe we're quoting Colin Cowherd and agreeing with them. He said, if your only argument is he doesn't win the playoffs, you better sign him, because you're not going to find anybody. You're not going to find a better replacement.
Yeah.
All right. That's the fact.
You know who else didn't win in the playoffs? Peyton Manning didn't win in the playoffs either, but it wasn't get rid of Peyton.
Well, that's what he said, right? That's what he said. If the only thing you can say is, you're not saying he can't get to the playoffs, you're saying he doesn't win in the playoffs, you better stick with that guy, because you're not going to find a better replacement than that. It's hard to win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel. I put more of that on the coaching.
I was going to say, especially when your coach is an idiot. It's really tough then.
All right. Want to do a quick bonus time?
Sure.
Quick bonus time, guys. Quick bonus time, and then we're getting out of here. If you want to hang out with us a little bit longer, go to patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right. We're going to do the overtime show. There's a theme for tonight's show, B.
Oh, really? What is that? Oh, yes.
TJ Watt
versus Myles Garrett.
In fact,
okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, I see Garnett's he's in the Discord adding Suge. Cannot wait for that one. I'm on the other side of that one though, Garnett. Suge.
Here we go. This is tonight. This is right after the show, guys. All right. So if you want to be a part of that discussion, yes, it'll be featuring Garnett West and our guy Suge Knight 323. Suge is a diehard Steelers fan, and he thinks he has the best players in the world, and nobody can compare to them. And Garnett is here to tell them TJ Watt is not the best defensive player. He's not even second best defensive player.
In this case, Suge is correct.
Hey, I mean, I'm leaning towards TJ Watt, man. Like I hear what Garnett is saying. He's gonna say, look, Garrett is a force. You know, does he see more double teams? I'm not sure if he sees more double teams. I haven't broken down the tape like that, but TJ Watt, man, he is. Look, they're both nasty, right?
Mhm.
But I probably lean towards TJ Watt if I'm being honest. But we're gonna hear from both of them. They're gonna make their cases. All right. All right. Attitude Pop says, why are they going so hard to take a black man's career, but people weren't pushing this hard to get Ben or Peyton or any other white athlete out the league? So all this is not fair. We actually addressed that earlier.
Yeah, you watching the show, Attitude? Or
I think he came a little late. That's fine. Yeah, we talked about Peyton Manning. We talked about Brett Favre. You know, talked about Ben Roethlisberger. You know, yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. Chandra says playoffs is not on Lamar. Weapons, coaching, and bad passing schemes are why Lamar doesn't do good in the playoffs.
The only time that they really looked good in the playoffs on offense was when they just went no huddle, and supposedly Lamar was calling the plays against the Chargers the first time they made it, and they almost came back and won that game. But outside of that, yeah, they get to the playoffs, and every other defensive coordinator in the league looks at their offense and like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Don Demelo says Andy Reid didn't win for a minute and still got shots. He won a lot, actually.
Well,
he didn't win. He didn't win.
Yeah, he didn't win the Super Bowl. But listen, when you go to 5 conference championships and don't win a Super Bowl, it's you didn't win for a while.
Yeah. No,
same thing with Bill Cowher.
But that's our point, right? That's the standard, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we don't give Harbaugh a pass. Like this, oh, well, look what he's working with last year. What about the years prior to that? Right? Like this year, honestly, is Super Bowl bust in my mind. Like they have to get it done. And if not, it's time for him to go. I mean, he has to go, in my opinion. He has to go. Only thing in my mind, if I had it my way, the only thing that would save him is winning the Super Bowl. Anything short of that, you're out of here. Yeah. Mr. J says, only thing the Steelers are good at is drafting wide receivers, which I could say the same for O-line and corner. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I can't argue there. He says, even Tomlin can't help Pickett. Just Al says, TJ was mocked to the Ravens in several mocks back in the day. Who did we get that year?
Yeah. Let's take a look. What year did TJ Watt come in?
I don't know. I have to look that up. I'll read some more comments and you look that up.
I'm willing to bet they didn't get TJ Watt.
Tyler says exactly. Roman gives up and lets Lamar do what he does. Up tempo and the offense moves. Yeah, that's all it is. When we get to the end of the game and we have to get some points on the board. That's not Greg Roman. That's Lamar just saying, look, let me just move the ball. And he's moving the ball. He's calling what works. And Greg Roman takes credit for that. Attitude Pop says the only reason Lamar is not negotiating and is going into this year trying to prove himself is because the Ravens lowballed him. If they gave him the money he wanted, this deal would be done now. You make a good point here, Attitude Pop. That's something that me and B kind of speculated too, right? Because the report out there from Jason Locke-4, you take that with a grain of salt, is that they only offered him around $34 million per year, something like that, but nobody's refuted that.
So the year TJ came out, Baltimore was picking 16th. TJ went 30th. Baltimore got Marlon Humphrey that year.
There you go.
Which, up until this past season, we'd be like, okay, that's fine, right? But then TJ won Defensive Player of the Year, and Marlon did what he did.
I
decided to launch his social media career instead of play football.
Look, if you are of the mindset of you like this coaching staff, you like John Harbaugh, you don't want John Harbaugh to go, then you have to say they made the right choice because this coaching staff does not care about edge rushers.
Yeah. Right.
And TJ Watt would not look the way he does in Pittsburgh over here in Baltimore. So go with the corner. That's where you put your emphasis on. Hendo says any head coach that would bring in an offensive coordinator that actually maximizes Lamar's skills instead of just running him all the time. Yeah. I saw shout out to Coach Evans from Sip to Tally Films. He did a video yesterday. I think when we played the Vikings, I believe Lamar ran the ball, I think like 21 times. And it's just too much. Like a lot of them were scrambles, right? But that was the other problem last year, is that they just couldn't protect him. So it was a combination of, bad drawn up run designs for him. And then when he did scramble, it's because you have these passing routes that take too long to develop. And then we can't block.
Yeah.
So he ends up having to scramble a lot of times. And then you have Villanueva, who can't guard anybody. Yes, and the O-line was trash.
Mm-hmm.
Just trash. So, we'll see what changes this year. A lot of coaches were brought in. To help out Greg Roman. That's not a good sign, in my opinion. I know some people are like, oh, yeah, now the offense is really going to take off. Well, it might take off, but it won't be because of Greg Roman. First 4 plays was Lamar running. Yeah. Yep. That offensive line last year. Exactly. All right. Couple more, and we are getting up out of here. All right. Yes. Attitude Pop says, I believe if Greg Roman calls a running play, Lamar is not going to run it. He's going to ignore it and call another play. He should only scramble when the line breaks down and doesn't see anyone open. Yeah, I don't think Lamar wants to run as much this year. I think when they call those option plays, I think he's going to be a little bit smarter about that. Some of that's on Lamar. I mean, Lamar ain't perfect, right? And Coach broke it down in the film too. There are times where he should have just handed the ball off, right? I think this year he's going to be smarter about it. He's going to just hand that ball off. Some of these option plays aren't going to be options. You're just running the ball, right? I don't care what the read is. I'm not running the ball. I'll decide when I'm ready to run the ball. It can't be 10 to 15 times a game anymore. We got to stop that. Right, 5 to 7 times. Okay.
If that. MDT Sports says Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, I'm still on Eric Bieniemy train. Back Daniel says receivers literally running the same routes. Yep. Very predictable. There was one where Pat Ricard was running a go route. B. That's good stuff. That's good. That's quality entertainment right there.
Lined up on the outside, running a go route.
That's right. That's why he wants that money.
Needless to say, he didn't get covered. Nobody believed that. Not even Lamar. Big Red says everybody is scared to let Harbs go, as if nobody else can be a head coach. Harbs was special teams coach. Nobody was looking at to be a head coach. So why be afraid to take a chance? I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. He has no specialty. He's been propped up by a great GM in Ozzie, and he came to a team that had some of the best players to ever play the game, legendary players, right? Mm-hmm. So he didn't have to do a whole lot early on. And I'm not calling him a bad coach, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's helping Lamar. I don't think he can help Lamar moving forward. I think we need a more forward-thinking coach, just a better coach in general, right? All right, let's leave it there. Okay, we got Watt versus Garrett coming up here. All right, if you want to be a part of that, go to patreon.com. Let me bring it up here. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. Look, I hope you guys liked tonight's show. Again, it wasn't a whole lot of Ravens talk, but we know what you guys are here for. But we want to give you fresh stories, good stories, stuff that you need to hear. It's not always what you want to hear; it's what you need to hear. All right. Look, we'll see. The camps, OTAs, mandatory OTA starts next week. So maybe we'll have something for you next week when we see Lamar out there throwing the ball. And there'll be more news that pops up. And the NBA Finals is on tonight. So, make sure you check that out. So, all right. Anything else before we get out of here, B?
Nope. That is it.
All right, y'all. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
B is ready. Guys, this has been fun. Rapid fire actually worked. #hyperdrive. Hyperdrive worked tonight. Okay. Thank you, John. This is a great show as usual. Yes.
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
All right. So we'll leave it at that. Patrons, get ready. We're going to start this show here in a minute. Everybody else, have a good night, and we will see you next time. Peace out.